Connor the right amount of formula. They're meeting with their son's pediatrician, David Pollock of Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, to find out.
I just have a couple questions on the feeding, so I just want to make sure I'm giving him enough food or if I'm not giving him enough.
Well, the most important thing is that once we weigh him, we see what his weight gain has been. We're really able to tell that he's eaten enough by tracking his growth.
You can be confident that your baby is eating enough if you see these signs. He seems relaxed and satisfied after a feeding. He wets 5 or 6 disposable diapers or 6 to 8 cloth diapers a day. And most important, his growth is on track. To gauge this, take your baby to all of his scheduled well baby visits so the doctor can monitor his growth.
I'll measure his head size and his length. So Connor, in inches, is about 23 and a half inches. And we'll plug that into his growth chart in just a second. And his head circumference is 41 and a half centimeters.
It's also important to make sure your baby isn't eating too much formula. There's one main sign that this is happening. Your baby is growing more than he should.
So let's see how big Connor's really gotten. 6.3 kilograms is about 14 pounds.
Happily, Connor is right on track.
Connor's had a great month. Let's look at the growth chart. You can see how nicely his growth curve is going. He's a big guy, but he's following a nice even curve, which is what we're looking for. We wouldn't want babies to drop off that curve or to go way above the curve.
In other words, what matters most is that your baby grows at a steady, appropriate rate and doesn't dramatically speed up or slow down.
Lately he's been more fussy than normal, and we've been giving him more formula.
To try to settle him down?
Yeah.
I think that resisting the temptation to simply feed a baby because they're fussy is very important. There are lots of ways that you may be able to calm down your baby. Sometimes they just want to suck, and a binky may be all they need. Sometimes they need their diaper change. Sometimes they need to find a new position to lay in. Sometimes they may need a little hug and a kiss.
Right. So how many ounces of formula does he need during the day?
Babies' feeding needs change over time. Every baby is different, but this sample chart may give you an idea. At first, babies need small amounts of formula frequently. As they get older and their stomachs get bigger, they'll eat larger amounts at each sitting and eat less often than they did right after birth. Your child might be hungrier at some times than at others, like during a growth spurt. These typically occur 10 to 14 days after birth and at age 3 weeks, 6 weeks, 3 months, and 6 months. Your child might be less hungry than usual if he's not feeling well.
How are you determining that it's time to eat?
He'll suck his fist or may turn to me.
Those are good
Right, buddy?
clues that it may be mealtime.
How can you tell if your baby wants to eat? Common hunger cues include smacking his lips, sucking, rooting, which means he turns his head toward your hand when you stroke his cheek, putting his hand to his mouth, finishing a feeding quickly and looking around for more, and crying, though this is a late sign of hunger. As you get to know your baby, you'll learn to read his hunger signals. If you have specific questions about feeding, talk to your baby's doctor.
He's certainly off to a wonderful start. He's hitting all of his developmental milestones. Continue to watch for the cues that we spoke about. We'll see you back in 2 months.